What's up, y'all? Good afternoon. Today I'm gonna do a quick video. It's gonna be short because my wife has an eye doctor's appointment, so I'm not gonna be on here too long. Probably keep it under 20 minutes. Um, for anybody that doesn't know, I'm Joseph, and I'm part of Breaking the Chains. I did a video in here last night with the T-shirts that are available. Um, all the funding that we make from the shirts, they go to Restoring Hope in Women. It's a nonprofit organization that helps get women into recovery. So it's for a good cause. I'll get Jewel to drop the links down in the comments later on once I get off here. But I just wanted to cover that. I'm also working on my own recovery book. So I have another book that I'm finishing up now. I should have it done within a week or two. It's not a recovery book, but I will be starting on my recovery book shortly after. I'm gonna try to get it done in like a 3 month window. We'll see how it goes. I'm really like particular, so it might take me longer. Um, but if anybody's interested, if anybody would be interested in the recovery book or the T-shirts, inbox me interested or comment interested. So when it releases, I can send you the links. Um, like I said, I'll get Jewel to post a link to the T-shirts. Um, it just pretty much, says Breaking the Chains on the front. It's got chains being broken, and then on the back, it's in love and memory of my mother. Um, she passed away last year, a little bit before my birthday and Mother's Day. And anybody that's curious, she did die clean, but she also did die from long-term drug use, the side effects from long-term drug use. Bad liver, bad kidneys, enlarged heart, fluid in the lungs, all that shit that comes with, using drugs for an extended period of time. So, people that think they're young and they can wait around and play around, your clock's ticking, your time's ticking. Um, so, I'm going to go ahead and get into the topic real quick. Um, the topic talks about, you know, our belief will restore us to sanity. And I really like this topic because, when we were using or we were drinking, we didn't believe in ourselves because we weren't being productive. We knew we were pissing our life away. We knew we weren't doing the things that we were brought on this planet to do. We knew we weren't, reaching our full potential. We knew we were selling ourselves short. We knew we were hurting our family. So over a period of time of use or drinking, you start to develop a low self-esteem. You start to develop depression, anxiety, a sense of feeling worthless. And once you get into recovery, it's really important that you start to change your mentality, and you start to believe in yourself again. Not the video I did last night, but the video I did before that, I talked about learning how to heal on your own. Because there's reasons for why you feel the way you feel. We live in a society today where the pills and the depression and the anxiety, it's almost becoming a trend, and it it's a big problem, But I feel like if we try to heal ourselves, instead of rushing for medication, I feel like you'll be better off at the end. I talked about also how that medication is just a band-aid. It's not going to heal your depression. It's not going to heal your anxiety. It's not going to heal your self-esteem. You have to work at it. Now, I also said, so I don't want nobody to get on here and, you know, send a witch hunt for me, but I also said that there are extreme cases. There are people who are schizophrenic who need medication. I've been around them. They need medication. There are people who suffer from, severe depression where it's no reason for it. They just are always depressed. Or, people who suffer from like an extreme bipolar disorder. But don't be so quick to give yourself a diagnosis and slap a label on yourself before you try to actually do something about it on your own, And if you feel, like you want to commit suicide, then I would suggest getting a shrink, getting somebody you can go and talk to about it, and he may be able or she may be able to talk you through it, and you may realize like okay, the way I feel is normal. You know what I mean? It's okay for me to feel this way. Um, it's natural, and that's a lot of it. A lot of us get overwhelmed because we're like, I don't know why I feel this way, and it just we feed into it. A lot of us feed into it, and I also talk about anybody that's watching me before. I talk about the power of your thoughts and the power of your words. You will become your thoughts. You will become what you say about yourself. So try to practice positive self speech. Try to practice positive thoughts. If you have negative thoughts, try to talk yourself out of it or talk yourself through it. Um, and hello, Jackie. Um, I know how it feels. I was depressed a lot when I was younger. I had social anxiety. Um, I had anger problems, but I, I don't like being labeled, and I don't like um, taking medicine. I'm not a fan of the pharmaceutical industry. I feel like they keep us sick. And I talk about not blaming anybody, and this is kind of going against what I preach, but I'm not a fan of big pharma, so I don't want to support them, and I don't trust them because they're a big reason why a lot of people are hooked on drugs. They'll give you a Percocet or a Tylenol 3 for nothing. You know what I mean? And it starts the cycle for a lot of people. I've seen a lot of people who have just been in an accident. They don't even come from a fucked up life, and they get into an accident and they get pain pills shoved down their throat, and they don't know any better because they haven't experienced it. And next thing you know, they got a pill problem. And we all know that pill problem eventually will turn into a dope problem because it's cheaper, it's stronger, and eventually you can't afford to have it. The doctors get you hooked and then stop writing you the script. You know what I mean? So just before you run to a medication for your anxiety and your depression and your low self-esteem, practice working on it. I advise a lot of people when I speak on this topic, I advise a lot of people to write things down and read them daily. Write a gratitude list and read it daily. If new things change and you're grateful for more things, add to it. Write down 10 things you like about yourself, whether it be physically or who you are as a person. Write that down. Read that daily. Write down a list of things that you want to accomplish and bullet points on how you can accomplish each thing and stay busy and work towards something, strive towards something. A lot of us are depressed because we're not where we want to be in life, and we feel the pressure of competing, and we see other people achieving their goals and we're not achieving our goals, and we just get depressed, and instead of working towards ours, we just sit in a dark room and you know just feel like we're useless. So just think about it. I'm glad you're enjoying the message page. Um, so like I said, just think about it. You know what I'm saying? And this is why I never say something without explaining myself, because I feel like I'm doing you a disservice, and I don't want to leave room for controversy. I'm always going to be honest with you about how I feel, and I always state that it's just my opinion. And in today's world, we also have a problem where people just can't have different opinions and be civilized. A lot of us, we get all this fake outrage and hatred for no reason, because we have somewhere to fucking whine 24/7. But that's besides the point. But for a lot of people, I want you to just focus on you. Once you get clean and you get sober, start focusing on you. Because I have the opinion that getting clean and getting sober is the easy part. Staying clean and staying sober is the hard part. And the reason why it's so hard is because so many of us don't do any self-work. We just expect to go to meetings and think everything's going to be better. It doesn't work that way. And another reason why I say what I say about rushing to the you know psychiatrist to get prescribed medication if you're feeling a little blue, or you're feeling upset, or you're feeling depressed, or you're anxious, or you're worried, or you're angry. For one, you haven't dealt with emotion in a long time, so it's new to you, so it's a shock to your system, it's a shock to your brain. So give yourself some time. And number two, why I say this. I want everybody to sit down and reflect and think, how many people do I know that are taking depression medication? How many people do I know that are taking medication for bipolar disorder or for emotional disorder? Because that's all it is. For a lot of us, there's some of us who it's an issue in our brain, but the majority of us, it's just an emotional problem. We're having trouble coping with natural emotions and natural life events. And another reason why I say this is because how many people do you know that take that medication and they're still the same or worse? I know most of the people that I know of that take these types of medications, they're still upset, they're still depressed, they're still angry, or a lot of them are like zombies. It's like, why? Let's not rush to that, you know? Let's try to actually work on our emotions and work through them. It's like I see a person and they'll say, I'm just so depressed all the time. And I'm like, well, why are you depressed all the time? I can't pay my bills. I hate my fucking job, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, it's normal. You don't like something about your situation, work your ass off to change it. You know what I mean? Work hard to change it. And you can get a lot, even if you don't get that goal or obtain that thing that you want in your hands right away. You can get a lot of positivity just from working at it because you feel accomplished. You feel like you're actually trying. You feel like you're working towards something. So that's just a little piece of advice that I have. Let's see here. Jackie says you're going through a low period. Yeah, it's a struggle every day. We all hit them lows. But for some gratitude, my new lows are not, I feel low because I miss drinking. I'm past that. So, and I've been past that. But we can still fuck up and cave if we don't heal. You know what I mean? We make ourselves vulnerable when we're not healing what we're going through and we're not healing from our past. Um, a lot of us use our past as an excuse. Like I said, my whole family is littered with addicts and alcoholics, and I've been through a lot of shit in my life, but I take ownership of my life. Why am I going to surrender my life right now in the present and my future to my past? It makes no sense. The past is gone. Bury that shit. It's over. Move on. Doesn't matter how traumatic what happened to you was, or how bad shit was, or how bad all the shit you did was. It's done. It's over. There's no point in dwelling in it and hanging on to it and carrying it with you because it's just going to hold you back. It's going to keep you from doing everything that you want to do in life. And I was a victim of it, you know what I mean? I sat around and, was upset about the situation. Um, I was upset that, me and my brother had to fend for ourselves, and I was upset that my mom was a drug addict, and I was upset that my mom went back to drugs. I was upset that my mom and my stepdad split up. I was upset that my dad was an alcoholic and he wouldn't come pick me up, or when he did, he was drunk a lot of times. I was upset from all these things. All the different abuse that I suffered, all the things that I went through. But I make amends with these people and I move forward. And I try to look at each person from my past and say, I understand. They were going through a hard time too. It's not fair for me to, destroy them and make them feel like pieces of shit because it's the cycle. They went through the same shit or worse. You know? My mom tells me stories and a lot of people back it up. She went through a hell of a lot worse shit than I did. And we're still a victim of the 60s and 70s and we haven't recovered from it. And we gotta take ownership of our lives and change this shit so our kids can have a better future. We gotta get over the hangover from the late 60s. We haven't gotten over it. And a lot of people sit around and think, why are grandparents raising their children, and why? Because the 60s generation, when drug use became socially acceptable, and it started impacting all communities, not just the poor ones. And, the parents get hooked, they're fucked up, they can't take care of their kids, so their parents are taking care of their kids. And it starts that cycle. And we got to get over that hangover. We got to get over that, 60s and 70s hangover because I'm seeing it all over again. I feel like it's coming back. Obviously, I wasn't alive in the 60s or 70s, but I know about my mom's life. I know about my grandparents' life. I know when it all started. I know the difference in the generation before that from stories and things that I've been told by my grandparents and my great grandparents. Um, so we have to break that cycle and put an end to it, because if you're aware of what's going on, it's like when we were in high school. If you're around my age, 30s, early 30s, late 20s, uh, wasn't nobody. It wasn't a lot of people that were doing pills and smoking crack and snorting coke and fucking, doing heroin. There was maybe a handful of people, but the majority of us, what did we do? We drank and smoked. Not saying that that was any better, because it's not, but more people are dying from overdoses right now. That's why, yes, I'm an alcoholic, but that's why I put so much hard work and focus into the pill and the heroin epidemic, because it's killing so many young people. I'm looking at my community and I'm seeing people in their, late teens and early 20s dying from the shit. I'm seeing people that I used to have respect for and I used to like. I'm like, I don't even know that motherfucker anymore. You know what I mean? And it fucks me up, because these are the neighborhoods that our kids are gonna grow up in. These are the people that our kids are gonna see. And I don't want that shit around my children, So we, as a unit, as a community, we have to work together to break the chains and break the cycle, so our kids don't have to burden that. Why is it fair for you to put that on your child's plate? I brought you into this world. You didn't ask to be here, but I'm burdening you with this, where I hope you don't use drugs because look what it did to mommy, or I hope you don't drink because look what it did to daddy. But they're seeing you do this shit. And even though they know it's wrong, um, that shit lays in the back of kids' heads, and they do it even without realizing what they're doing. When I first started drinking, it wasn't because I was depressed. It was because I wanted to have fun. All the older people that I hung around, they were doing it, so I wanted to do it. And then as life went on, it took over and it took control, and I developed a problem because I was using it for other things. I liked the way it felt so much that I could just release and blank out and not think about my life, that I started doing it excessively, and here I am. You know what I mean? 15 years later, here I am. So we gotta think about these things. And the reason why I talk a lot about healing yourself and working hard to heal yourself on your own, the reason why I tell you to write all these things down, is because these are things that have helped me, and these are things that get overlooked. I feel like a lot of these things that I'm telling you get overlooked in programs, because I feel like we're so stuck in the way AA's been forever and the way NA's been forever. And yes, it's helped a lot of people. Yes, it's worked. But we have to evolve. As life evolves, we have to evolve. You know, not in the sense from, monkeys to men, but in the sense of spiritually, emotionally, mentally, we have to grow. And society's forever changing. So something that might have worked in, 1969 or 1973 might not work in 2019. So we have to make tweaks and make improvements. And I feel like a lot of the improvements is, um, it's just like we just keep a hold of so many of the same things, and we don't make any steps in a new direction. I went to rehab, and I got a lot out of it, but I got a lot out of it because we wrote and we expressed ourselves creatively. We sat around and we pinballed ideas off of each other and worked on things that bothered us. And I went to AA meetings when I was a kid. I grew up in the AA meetings, because when my dad came and picked me up and he wasn't fucked up, or when he did show up because he wasn't fucked up, we would go to an AA meeting on Friday night. A lot of times. Probably at least 60% of the time. And I liked it, but at the same time, I felt like there was too many people in there that glorified it, and there was too many people in the rooms that it was just a social scene. It's like they were trying to fill the hole with something else instead of healing the hole and then going to a meeting being a whole person. They were looking for the meeting to make them whole. I know when I got my first charge and I had to go to AA meetings, um, I didn't like the shit, man. Like I always wanted to go out and drink afterwards because you'd get somebody come up there and just, they're up there laughing, having a good time, talking about all the crazy shit they did, and I'm like, well, why am I sitting here? That sounds like a fun story. I'm gonna go to the liquor store and make a new story for myself. You know what I'm saying? Um, so when you share your message, if you are gonna share a message, and I think it's important that you all do when you get to that point, because your message could impact so many people. You never know how beneficial your message could be to somebody else. You all have a story. You all have value. So realize your potential and realize your value, and don't be afraid to share your message out to others, because you could impact so many lives just by getting on here and talking. Um, when you're ready, of course. But when you do get on here, one thing I would say, and it's none of my business in a way, but just be careful. Be careful and be self aware when you get on here, um, before you start, hitting up your highlight reel. If you do want to talk about a specific thing and you have a reason, just stress how much better your life is now. Stress how much you hated living like that. Key points that can change the whole dynamic of your storytelling. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, when I was in meetings, a lot of people failed to do that. It's almost like they got up there and just like had a flashback and they just like forgot where they were. Um, and I just want everybody, if you're going to share your message, to just be self-aware. Not telling you what to do. You can do what you want. But I know I've heard this story from so many other people. So it's not just me. I'm not just sharing my own experience. I am. But I've also seen a lot of people get on here and complain about the same things. Like, I don't like going to meetings because I always feel like using and drinking afterwards. They don't really know why, but I'm telling you why. That's why. Because a lot of times there's, somebody will speak, and you can't control who speaks and who doesn't. So a lot of people will get up there and speak, and they just hit up their highlight reel because of the social scene. So it's more of what I'm saying. I'm linking it in because of the social scene. Half these people went to high school together. These guys in their 40s and 30s and 50s, they all know each other. It's small town shit. They all know each other. They all went to high school together, and a lot of them just go up there and relive their glory days, or so they think was their glory days. I'm like, bro, your glory days were not that. Your glory days are ahead of you if you let that other shit go. It's always fun and games until we get into a situation, and then we're like, fuck, I forgot my party phase has been over. I can't party anymore. It's not fun anymore. I forgot all about it because I'm sitting there hitting up my highlight reel from when I was in high school. Like, but you used for like another 10 or 20 years, or drank for another 10 and 20 years, but you always got to dig way back for the story that makes you laugh and makes you happy. Keep that in perspective. A lot of us trick ourselves into thinking that we can get those days back. It's impossible. Those days are dead and gone. You're never going to get your party phase back. You're never going to be able to control it. You're never going to be able to maintain, so stop lying to yourself. It's not going to happen. And that's something that I had to work with for a very, very long time, because I have a big ego and I didn't want to accept the fact that I couldn't control something. And I suffered because of my ego for a very long time. And before I knew it, it was just a part of my life. And I just had the mentality that I'm never going to change. So I might as well just embrace this life that I live. Just being trash, just being an asshole. And that's not who I want to be, So just think about it. I'm going to get off here because, like I said, got things to do. But I just wanted to share this message. One last thing. If you need anything, feel free to add me on my personal page, and feel free to inbox me. I'm not a doctor, like I've stated many times, but I can try to help you or talk you through something if you're going through it. I'm not just a live video. I am a real person. So I want to make myself accessible. I don't want to just, well, you got to catch me on a live. So If I'm not on here and you're going through something, feel free to reach out. I hope y'all have a good day. Stay clean and stay sober.